When you look at the events that take place at the end, one of the signs of the end is the regathering of the Jewish people.
Translate. Chastik. When we observe the events that mark the end of times, we notice an intriguing phenomenon. The return of the Jewish people. This event occurs in a scenario of tensions between Israel and Hamas, as well as national protests generated by Israeli reforms. A new and significant sign has emerged, challenging our understanding of the end times. Over the last few years, we have witnessed the unfolding of impressive prophetic events, ranging from enigmatic celestial alignments to the spread of the mark of the beast in various nations. However, amidst these surprising events, there is a frequently overlooked sign, which is closely related to the four horsemen mentioned in the book of Revelation. Have you ever wondered what this biblical sign indicating the end of times is and why it has re-emerged now? I invite you to join us on this journey of discovering this new sign of the end of times, which has recently appeared in Israel. We will be exploring whether an ancient book, written 2,700 years ago, can offer us the keys to understanding current events. The Bible, filled with prophecies, provides us with fascinating visions of future events and the course of human history as revealed by a possible divine intervention. These prophecies not only arouse our curiosity but also prepare and inspire believers for the imminent fulfillment of these predictions, summoning a response of faith and dedication. From the revelations made to Abraham to the prophetic visions of rising and declining empires received by Daniel, God seems to have constantly guided his followers. However, not all prophecies are comforting or positive. One of the most disturbing is that of the four horsemen. The signs of their arrival and the impact on Earth are becoming increasingly evident. Recent global events, especially in the last half-decade, are a clear example of the growing manifestation of these. In the book of Revelation, particularly in chapter 6, we find a passage referring to the four horsemen. Here, a remarkable scroll is observed in the sky, sealed with 7 enigmatic seals. Initially, no one is considered worthy of opening these seals and revealing the scroll's contents. However, the Lamb of God, symbolizing Jesus, emerges as the being worthy of performing this task. As the Lamb begins to open each seal, a sequence of devastating judgments is released upon the world. These judgments, known as the opening judgments of the tribulation period, are represented by 4 horsemen riding horses of different colors. Prepare yourself as we explore how each horseman and horse symbolizes a different sign of the end times that now apparently emerged in Israel. Let's examine the first horseman. Within the shadowy corridors of biblical prophecies, the first horseman is one of the most feared predictions in the sacred book. Here's the story. In the book of Revelation, specifically in chapter 6, verse 2, John experienced a significant event that changed his life and probably will change yours. He witnesses the opening of the first of the 7 seals and shares his vivid experience. And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering, and to conquer. Throughout history, this verse has captured the attention and imagination of many due to its symbolic significance and hints of a deeper meaning. Some interpret the white horse and its rider as a representation of the Antichrist mentioned in the biblical book of Daniel. According to the prophecies of Daniel, the Antichrist is described as an evil prince who will establish a 7-year peace treaty, ascend to power through eloquent speeches, and overthrow the government of 3 other kings. Under this interpretation, the appearance of the white horse and its rider signals the arrival of the Antichrist and marks the beginning of 7 years of divine judgment, known as the tribulation or the Great Tribulation. During this time, the wrath and judgments of God are poured out upon the world. The white horse, with its rider holding a bow and wearing a crown, symbolizes the deceptive and conquering nature of the Antichrist. The bow signifies war and aggression, suggesting that the Antichrist will employ military power and political cunning to establish his dominion. The crown represents his authority and power, which are granted to him, possibly indicating a supernatural source behind his rise to prominence. To gain a deeper understanding of the signs that have recently appeared in Israel, it is important to explore who exactly is the Antichrist. The term Antichrist itself is not found in the book of Revelation, but is mentioned in the epistles of John. 19, John writes, "Little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. Furthermore, 1 John 2 states that the Antichrist denies the Father and the Son, while 1 John frees to those who oppose the teachings of Christ as the Antichrist. Essentially, the Antichrist is described as someone who is against Christ and seeks to deceive and divert people from the truth. In the book of Daniel, there are references to a figure known as the little horn or the man of sin. This individual is portrayed as a powerful and arrogant ruler who exalts himself above all gods and persecutes the people of God. He is associated with the end times and is seen as an adversary of God's people. Some interpretations suggest that this figure in Daniel's prophecy serves as a precursor or anticipation of the Antichrist mentioned in other biblical texts. It is believed that the Antichrist will arise in the future and embody the characteristics of the little horn described in Daniel. In the book of Revelation, particularly in chapters 13 and 17, there are detailed descriptions of a beast and a prostitute associated with the Antichrist. The beast is depicted as a powerful political and military entity that receives worship and authority from the world. The prostitute represents a false religious system aligned with the beast, deceiving people and leading them away from true worship of God. The white horse that war rides may be seen as a metaphor for the deceptive nature of modern warfare. It represents how conflicts are often initiated under the pretext of noble intentions or righteousness, but can quickly spiral into chaos and suffering. War represents not just physical warfare, but also the proliferation of violence in various forms, such as terrorism, civil unrest, and ideological clashes. It symbolizes the deep divisions, aggression, and power struggles that exist between nations, communities, and individuals. Furthermore, the bow that war carries may represent the advanced weaponry technology and the capability to wage war from a distance. It symbolizes the increasing sophistication and destructive power of modern warfare, including cyber warfare and the potential for devastating consequences on a global scale. In this interpretation, the crown worn by war may represent the pursuit of dominion, power, and control that often underlies conflict. It signifies the desire to impose authority and enforce one's will on others, leading to widespread suffering and destabilization. In general, the modern interpretation of war as the first of the four horsemen highlights the urgent need for peaceful resolutions, diplomacy, and cooperation in addressing global conflicts. It serves as a reminder of the devastating consequences resulting from the inability to find peaceful solutions and the importance of seeking harmony in a world plagued by violence and conflict. The second horseman, with the first seal dramatically broken and the emergence of the white horse and its triumphant rider, John's mystical vision persisted, leading him deeper into the revelation of the Great Scroll. And there, to his surprise, he saw the opening of the second seal, giving rise to a vivid picture, a rider upon a fiery red horse. This second horseman, wielding immense power, was destined to take peace from the earth, plunging humanity into a whirlwind of discord and bloodshed. In the scriptures, this fearsome horseman is portrayed wielding a formidable sword, a potent symbol of the violence and conflict that would sweep the earth. It is a stark contrast to the first horseman on the white horse who, despite his conquering nature, arrived without a sword and seemingly brought a semblance of peace. Here, on the red horse, the deliberate eradication of peace takes center stage. The promises of tranquility made by the Antichrist, the embodiment of injustice, will prove empty as people turn against one another, plunging the world into an abyss of hostility. True peace, it seems, will elude them, making the peace treaty orchestrated by the Antichrist a futile effort, perhaps cunningly designed to solidify his power. One can reasonably speculate that the Antichrist, in his insatiable thirst for dominion, will resort to warfare against those who refuse to align with him under the pretext of the peace treaty. Consequently, the absence of peace will unleash a torrent of turmoil and chaos upon the world. The consequences of this complete absence of tranquility will, no doubt, be terrible, plunging the inhabitants of that time into an ever-deepening abyss of suffering. There will be no respite from the growing problems as the Lamb of God continues to unravel the remaining seals, revealing more prophecies and events. The unfolding revelation paints a vivid and grim picture of a world consumed by turmoil. This absence of peace, coupled with the relentless unveiling of the seals, portends a time of immense suffering and tribulation. As each seal is broken by the Lamb, the intensity of events escalates, exacerbating the already dire circumstances. These seals serve as conduits for divine judgment, establishing God's plan for the earth. The subsequent seals, yet to be opened, contain more revelations and judgments that will shape the course of history during this extraordinary period. Indeed, the opening of the second seal is just a glimpse of the cataclysmic events that are to come. As the remaining seals are unveiled, they will trigger a cascade of devastating consequences on Earth, leaving widespread devastation and insurmountable challenges in their wake. Humanity will find itself on the brink of despair as the world grapples with the unfolding of divine judgment. Thus, the journey through the unraveling of the seals continues, as John's vision propels us into a realm where peace is shattered and the consequences reverberate with unparalleled force. Oh! This suggests that the previous three horsemen were unleashed in rapid succession, almost simultaneously. The fourth horseman, Death, claims the lives of countless people, alluding to the wars started by the second horseman. But in addition, he inflicts suffering through famine, suggesting the scarcity and rationing brought by the third horseman. Moreover, people fall victim to fatal encounters with wild creatures during this cataclysmic period, emphasizing the dangerous nature of the environment. Notably, Death's arrival affects a staggering 1/4 of Earth's population, and it is closely followed by Hell, a sinister presence that further exacerbates the severity of the situation. Some interpretations suggest that the reference to a fourth of the Earth could signify the resistance of an entire geographical region, like North America, against the Antichrist, only to face complete annihilation as the Antichrist retaliates by unleashing war, famine, and wild animal attacks upon them. However, it's important to recognize that interpretations of such symbolic passages can vary. The image presented in the opening of the fourth seal underlines the profound severity of the unfolding events. The pale horse ridden by Death evokes an overwhelming sense of fear and foreboding. The authority granted to Death to claim lives through various means serves to underline the devastating consequences of these tumultuous times. The proximity of Hell, lurking behind Death, intensifies the gravity of the situation, suggesting a descent into darkness and spiritual turmoil. What is the significance of the four horsemen's sign today, and what role do Christians play in all this? The black horse mentioned in the book of Revelation represents an event of extreme inflation. Inflation occurs when prices skyrocket, causing the erosion of currency value over time. This represents a significant threat to society and devalues money, making it increasingly difficult for the average person to pay for basic necessities. However, it is worth noting that the wealthy still have access to luxuries, as suggested by the phrase "do not harm the oil and the wine." This contrast in the impact of inflation on different segments of society is a familiar reality in our current world. When the third seal in Revelation is opened, revealing the black horse, it signals impending economic turmoil and suffering. The black rider on the horse symbolizes famine, as indicated by the scales in his hand, suggesting rationing of food due to scarcity. Throughout history, we have witnessed such scenarios in various parts of the world. In the modern context, inflation is a concept we are familiar with, measuring the increase in prices of goods and services over time. The passage in Revelation vividly portrays a situation where a day's wage can only pay for the ingredients for bread. This mirrors the real impact of inflation, where the cost of living becomes burdensome. We can draw parallels between these ancient verses and the economic challenges we face today. The Consumer Price Index, PAY, serves as an indicator of the increase in prices in goods and services, and recent data reveals a 3.7% increase in August. This increase erodes the purchasing power of individuals and families, making it harder for them to afford their basic needs. While inflation rates may fluctuate, the overall trend is upward, dispelling the misconception that a lower inflation rate means cheaper goods. Instead, it means prices are still rising, albeit at a slower pace. Understanding this distinction is crucial to comprehending the economic challenges people face in a world where inflation affects their ability to meet basic needs. In Israel, a terrifying event unfolded, casting a dark shadow over the generally joyful Christmas season. Bethlehem, a Palestinian city in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, was gripped by fear and despair as the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas forced the cancellation of all festive celebrations. The city, known as the birthplace of Jesus Christ, would witness an unprecedented and bleak Christmas in 2023. In the Emmanuel Evangelical Church in Bethlehem, the atmosphere was far from festive. The senior pastor, Nihad Salman, driven by the urgency of the situation, retrieved a frightening banner from the back of the church closet, depicting a desperate woman fleeing amid bombed buildings. The banner carried the chilling Arabic words, "Let's rise and worship." This symbol of suffering and resilience was last displayed during the 2021 conflict between Israel and Hamas, and now serves as a poignant reminder of the harsh realities faced by the city's inhabitants. Salman recognized that amid the chaos and devastation, there was an opportunity to share the gospel and offer solace to those living under military occupation. He understood that in times of crisis, people often seek truth and meaning, and his church was prepared to provide answers. "I'm perturbed by the absence of traditional celebrations," Salman commented. "We have much work to do." Beyond Bethlehem, church leaders throughout the Holy Land made the difficult decision to dampen Christmas festivities. The ongoing war between Israel and Hamas cast a veil of sorrow and uncertainty, overshadowing the joyous anticipation that typically enveloped the region. Bethlehem, typically a hub of over 3 million visitors from around the world, was now devoid of its usual crowds of pilgrims, replaced by a ghostly quietness. This unprecedented turnaround had significant implications for the region. The cancellation of Christmas celebrations symbolized the profound impact of the conflict between Israel and Hamas, as it not only disrupted the lives of countless individuals, but also hindered the annual celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. It serves as a stark reminder of the harsh realities faced by those living under military occupation, while also highlighting the resilience and determination of individuals like Pastor Nihad Salman, who sought to offer hope and guidance in the face of adversity. In these uncertain times, it is crucial for Christians to maintain their faith and trust in God. The challenges we face can easily lead to fear, doubt, and anxiety. However, by grounding ourselves in the teachings of the Bible, we can find strength, hope, and encouragement to persevere. A biblical narrative that exemplifies unwavering faith is the story of Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel remained faithful to God, despite facing persecution and the threat of death. When he was thrown into the lion's den, he trusted in God's protection. The outcome of the story demonstrates the power of faith and God's faithfulness to his people. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw and want to stay up to date with more content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Oh, and give that like to help us grow and bring these stories and information to more people. Each subscription and like makes a big difference for us. So let's go. Subscribe, leave your like, and join our community. And of course, if there's anything you want to see here or any suggestions, just leave them in the comments. We count on you! The vivid image suggests that people will approach resource allocation with utmost care, handling their limited supplies of wine and oil with cautious deliberation. It's crucial to recognize that the opening of the third seal does not mark the end of the Lamb's revelations. There are several seals yet to be unveiled, indicating that this prophetic sequence of events is far from over. The implications and consequences unfolded from these revelations continue to captivate and intrigue, leaving us eagerly anticipating what is to come. As the Lamb continued to break the seals, a momentous event unfolded when the fourth seal was opened. Emerging from the seal was the final horseman mounted on a pale horse. The Greek term used by John to describe the horse indicates it had a distinct pale green hue. What sets this horseman apart from the others is that he carries a name. Death. Accompanying death is hell, a chilling presence that closely follows in its wake. In this captivating passage, death was given unprecedented power over a fourth of the earth, with authority to bring death by various means. Death wields a formidable sword, symbolizing the horrors of war and violence. Furthermore, he unleashes death through the frightening specters of famine, disease, and wild animal attack.